The following content contains sensitive topics related to a high-profile criminal trial. This is for educational and entertainment purposes only, based on reported courtroom testimony from inner-city press and other sources. Buckle up, fam! This one's a wild ride through hip-hop's darkest secrets. Yo, what's good, fam? Welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into true crime with a side of shade and a whole lot of real talk. Today, we're breaking down the Sean Diddy Combs trial, the case that's got the internet in a chokehold. And who's stealing the show? None other than 50 Cent, the king of clapbacks, and Wendy Williams, the Hot Topics queen who's been spilling tea since flip phones were a thing. For years, 50's been roasting Diddy online. Memes, shady posts, you name it. Wendy? She's been calling out Diddy's dark side on radio and TV, only to get blackballed by the industry. Now, in 2025, they're both in federal court, under oath, and they're not here to play. 50's got a list of names that's shaking the game: Usher, Bieber, Fabolous, and more. Wendy's got receipts, NDAs, emails, and a timeline that drags Diddy, Jay-Z, Tyler Perry, and even Oprah into the mix. This ain't just a trial, y'all. It's a reckoning. So grab your popcorn, mute your notifications, and let's unpack how 50 and Wendy turned a Manhattan courtroom into the hottest stage in hip-hop history. This tea is scalding. Let's go! Alright, let's rewind the tape and set this stage because this drama's been brewing longer than a Bad Boy Records contract. 50 Cent, aka Curtis Jackson, and Diddy, aka Sean Combs, have been throwing punches since the early 2000s. It all kicked off when 50 dropped a track called The Bomb in 2006, where he straight up implied Diddy had dirt on Biggie's murder. Shade alert, Diddy denied it, but 50 wasn't buying it. He kept the heat on, and by 2014, he's out here posting Instagram memes hinting Diddy and Rick Ross were, let's just say, closer than close. And the internet was like, Lamau, 50's wild. But those memes weren't just jokes, they were warnings. Fast forward to 2018, 50's on The Breakfast Club, and he drops this gem about Diddy inviting him to go shopping.
He told me to take me shopping. I looked at him like, what'd you just say?
Not just any shopping. Diddy's like, yo, I'll pay for it. 50's face, pure what the hell. He's like, what grown man offers to take another man shopping? That's suspect. The hosts were cackling, but 50 was planting seeds. He even said, Diddy's vibe gave me the ick. Fans thought it was just beef, but when Cassie's lawsuit against Diddy dropped in 2023, 50's like, told y'all, these fools been shady forever. He reposted the headlines on IG with captions like, I've been saying this. Suddenly, his trolling looked less like a feud and more like a one-man crusade. Now let's talk about Wendy Williams, the OG whistleblower. Back in the 90s, Wendy was ruling the airwaves on Hot 97, serving tea hotter than a New York summer. She was calling out Diddy's wild parties and sketchy behavior when most folks were too scared to whisper his name. But every time she opened her mouth, the industry clapped back. Hard.
Did you get fired for making fun of Puffy?
Yeah, by Hot 97. I had to fight a lawsuit. You know what it all came down to? It
came down to gay rappers. That's what it was.
Gay rappers and exposing.
That wasn't the end. Wendy got fired from Hot 97 that same year, and she's always believed Diddy's fingerprints were on it. She told the Daily Mail in 2024, I was told by so many people, Wendy, you called it. Her career became a war zone. Sponsors ghosted, BET banned her from events, and she lost media passes. But Wendy, she's built different. She took her tea to the Wendy Williams show, where she kept dropping hints about Diddy's freak-offs and control over artists like Cassie. In a 2015 episode, she warned, when you date a mogul, they can pop up anywhere. They'll pay off hotel staff, get your room key, anything. Spooky, right? And when that 2016 hotel footage of Diddy attacking Cassie leaked, Wendy's like, it's about time. By 2025, 50 and Wendy are done with the sidelines. 50's been loud on X, posting memes and calling out Diddy's freaky parties, even saying he'd never set foot in one. Wendy's been vindicated, with fans on X saying, Wendy was right all along. Now they're both in court, ready to spill everything. 50 with his shady list, Wendy with her stack of receipts. This ain't just beef or gossip, it's a full-on expose of hip-hop's underbelly and the industry's shaking in its timbs. Fast forward to May 2025, and we're in a Manhattan federal courtroom that's more tense than a Bad Boy versus Death Row showdown. Diddy's at the defense table, looking like he just got served a triple espresso of regret. The jury's on edge, the judge is demanding order, and 50 Cent, he's strutting to the stand like he's about to drop Get Rich or Die Tryin' all over again.
Like, no matter what you do, you get these different status, like you'd be like writer, producer, a mogul.
Yeah.
And as soon as you get in trouble, they go rapper.
Ah!
You go right back to rapper.
The prosecution calls him as a surprise witness to peel back the curtain on Diddy's world. Not the glitz and glam, but the dark, twisted stuff nobody was supposed to talk about. And 50, he's ready to deliver. He kicks things off with Usher, and the courtroom gasps like they're watching a plot twist on Power. 50 talks about Flavor Camp, this shady setup in the 90s where a 14-year-old Usher was living with Diddy, then a grown man in his 20s. We all wondered what a teenager was doing in Puff's house, 50 says, raising an eyebrow. He brings up a 2016 Howard Stern interview, where Usher got all fidgety, muttering about curious things at Diddy's place. 50's like, that boy had something to say, but Puff's got that mogul magic, makes people zip it. He recalls seeing Usher and Diddy at an event years later, and the vibe was frosty. Not we're busy, Frosty, 50 says, more like you know what you did, Frosty. The jury's scribbling notes like it's a pop quiz. The prosecution's like, got proof, receipts, recordings. 50 shrugs, all cool, and says, this industry don't do paper trails. It's whispers backstage, looks in the green room, stuff everybody knows but nobody says. Then boom, he pulls out a folded sheet from his jacket pocket and the room loses it. This ain't a hit list, he says, smirking like he's about to drop a diss track. This is a truth list. The judge bangs the gavel, the gallery's buzzing, and Diddy's looking like he wants to crawl under the table. 50 starts reading Usher Raymond. Young, vulnerable, Diddy was grooming him, he says. The courtroom's so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Then Fabolous 50 recounts a Drink Champs episode where Diddy's grilling Fab about why they never party together, and Fab's laughing, but his eyes are screaming help. I was there, 50 says. That wasn't a joke, that was fear, real fear. He tells a story about a private industry event where Diddy allegedly cornered Fab saying, yo, I got a room upstairs, just chill.
Yeah, I love this drink.
Where you put my bag?
I like when you like this, Daddy.
Yeah, where you put my bag?
Daddy, I like when you
right
scrambling
here,
and scraping for shit.
No,
I like that.
Shit. You know, I'll be practicing. Okay.
Fab wasn't feeling it and dipped out the back door. 50's like, Fab told someone, I just want to go home. That's Puff's playbook. Pressure. Fun fact, Fab once posted on Instagram about sneaking out of a Diddy party at 7 a.m., pretending to hit the bathroom. Coincidence? Nah, but 50's just warming up. He drops Justin Bieber next, and the room's shook. He references that creepy 2011 video where Diddy's like, I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. We're gonna go full buck, full crazy. 50's like, ain't nobody talking music lessons at 2 a.m. in Miami with a 15-year-old. He says he heard from Bieber's camp, folks too scared to go public, that those 48 hours were exposure to things no kid should see. Bieber later distanced himself from Diddy, and 50 points to his public meltdowns as fallout from that dark side of fame. Puff finds him young, promises the world, then controls him, 50 says. The jury's faces? Pure shock.
When she put out those pictures of the dude pulling his pants down, and it looked like some gay act that was going on, he got on the phone. He said, let me tell you this. When I get back to New York City, if she's on the radio station, he's talking to a radio executive.
Then Ja Rule. 50 recounts a story from Diddy's ex-bodyguard Gene Deal about a wild night in a North Carolina suite. Gene said J. Rule poked his head out and told him, yo, you might not want to come in here. It's a little freaky tonight. 50's like, That ain't bubble baths and candles, fam. That's some other vibe. He adds YK Osiris to the list, saying Diddy lured him with luxury trips to Jamaica only for Osiris to have that viral Instagram live meltdown, crying about feeling alone. That's what Puff does, 50 says. Love bombs you, then leaves you broken. 50 wraps it up with a chilling line. This ain't about Diddy being freaky, it's about power, coercion, and a system that lets young stars get chewed up. And I got more names on this list. The courtroom's buzzing, Diddy's sweating, and the internet's already blowing up on X with posts. US v. Sean Combs, 50 Cent's list is wild. But hold up, Wendy's about to take this to a whole new level. Now enter Wendy Williams. When she walks in, it's not a celebrity moment. It's a moment, like someone who's been silenced for decades finally getting her mic back. She sits, adjusts her mic with that signature Wendy swagger, and says, "I was never messy. I was never bitter. I was early." Wendy's here to testify about Diddy's patterns, abuse, cover-ups, and a whole industry that protected him. She plops down a stack of papers, show transcripts, emails, NDAs. This, she says, is why they tried to erase me. She starts in the early 2000s, when she was a radio queen. You couldn't talk about Puff without a phone call an hour later, she says. Station managers warned her, sponsors bailed, and she claims Diddy sent Total to confront her outside her studio. They were waiting for me. That's not coincidence. That's coordination. Wendy says every time she exposed Diddy's parties or his treatment of artists, her world crumbled. Sponsors? Gone. Syndication deals? Poof. But you can't erase me, she tells the jury. And now I'm under oath, so I hope they're listening. Then she pivots to Jay-Z. You can't talk about Diddy without the people who stood by him, she says, eyes sharp. She brings up Foxy Brown, who was 15 when Jay-Z, then 27, was writing her lyrics like, "Ain't no nin," like the one I got. Wendy reads it aloud, and the courtroom recoils. Why's a grown man writing that for a child, she asks. She talks about rumors of Jay picking Foxy up from school, buying her gifts, and an alleged tape with Jay, Foxy, and Jamie Foxx that vanished after a burglary at Foxy's home. Coincidence? Wendy smirks. I think not. Wendy says she was fired from her radio show after suggesting Jay-Z's relationships with underage girls needed investigating. They called me toxic, but I was right. She pulls out emails and call logs showing Jay's team blacklisting her. They turned me into the villain for asking what any decent person would. Next, she tackles Diddy's freak-offs. Those weren't parties, she says. They were operations. She heard whispers in the 90s, phones confiscated, NDAs signed, candles, escorts, cameras, rooms assigned.
And let me tell you something. As the mother of a now 16-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Who I met backstage,
He did?
He's a great young man.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
This was organized depravity, she says, citing Karine Superhead Steffens, who described Diddy's paranoia and strange setups on Wendy's show. Wendy also mentions 3 people who told her about IV bags at these parties, matching the indictment's details. She pulls out a chilling NDA from 2007. Subject agrees not to disclose private gatherings with Sean Combs. Violation may result in public retaliation. Wendy slams it down. Public retaliation. Then an email from a hotel chain about a 2015 suite setup for Diddy, complete with discretion measures. This was a system, she says, planned, funded, cleaned up. Wendy also defends Cassie Ventura. I saw a scared girl, she says, recalling Cassie's flinch in an old interview. She was 19, he was pushing 40. That's not love, that's leverage. Wendy says she warned listeners in 2008 about Diddy's control only to lose sponsors. She references Cassie's 2018 breakup when Diddy allegedly forced his way into her home. When a mogul wants control, they don't need permission, Wendy says. Wendy's not here to play nice. She's ready to shake the whole industry. She drops a bomb that makes the courtroom feel like it's been hit by a meteor. This isn't just about Diddy, it's about the ecosystem that kept him untouchable. She names Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey, and the room goes so silent you could hear a Gucci belt buckle drop. Plot twist, Wendy says, after she started calling out Diddy's parties and questioning Perry's projects on her show, her Hollywood access evaporated faster than a bad boy artist's advance. I went from red carpets to persona non grata, she says, her voice dripping with defiance. She recalls a 2010 incident when a studio exec pulled her aside at an event and whispered, "Wendy, Oprah's people don't want you near her. You're too loud about certain topics." Oop! She shares a personal betrayal, confiding in Oprah about her own abuse, only to see her abuser on Oprah's show while Wendy was blackballed. That wasn't just betrayal, Wendy says. That was retaliation. She shows an email with the subject, "Managing Optics, Wendy, Puff, Tyler, proof of a coordinated effort to silence her. They smiled with Diddy, took his checks, and crushed anyone who spoke out," Wendy says. She reveals she was offered an NDA for a TV deal if she dropped her topics. She said no. The silence they bought cost others their freedom, she tells the jury. When 50 and Wendy finish, the courtroom's in shock. Diddy's staring at the floor. The jury's scribbling like it's a final exam. Social media exploding. Fans are dissecting old Drink Champs clips, Wendy's Hot Topic segments, everything. Twitter's calling this hip-hop's #Me Too moment. NDAs are the talk of the town. Sources say bad boy artists signed contracts banning them from spilling tea about Diddy's unusual behavior. Celebs are panicking, Kevin Hart cancels shows, Instagram pages vanish, PR teams are in overdrive, Hollywood's hitting pause on bad boy deals, and insiders say named stars are lawyering up. 50's out here unbothered, posting on IG. They tried to cancel me before. I dare them to try again. More names coming. Wendy? She's quieter but just as fierce, reportedly telling friends, "I've been waiting 20 years for this." Alright fam, let's get real. This story's juicy, but it's heavy. 50 Cent and Wendy Williams didn't just testify, they exposed a system that's been hurting people for decades. Young artists, vulnerable kids, folks chasing dreams who got trapped. My heart breaks for Cassie, for anyone silenced by NDAs or fear. This ain't just about Diddy, it's about power, control, and an industry that looked the other way. 50 and Wendy cracked the door open. Will others walk through? Will the tower of silence fall? We'll see. What do y'all think? Are 50 and Wendy heroes, or are they stirring the pot? Drop your thoughts in the comments, like, subscribe, and hit that bell for part 2, because this tea's still brewing. Stay woke, stay real, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.